Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC in Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television a couple different ways, local to North Alabama. You can find us on channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and all over the world. So we do have a planned network, which is actually already in place, and that's in Australia. But I'll have to tell you, Jamie, folks listen to us all over Europe. So, and you guys are worldwide. So this really works out. Jamie McGlaughn is with me right now, and she's with Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child. And I love talking with her. Oh, and so many great things are happening with this organization.
Good morning, Donna. I love talking with you too. It's always a blessing. So thank you for having me this morning.
Well, talk to us about Operation Christmas Child. We got a few new listeners. What's it all about?
Well, great. Well, first, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported Operation Christmas Child, not only through the years, but this past season. Operation Christmas Child, just a little bit of background for the new listeners, is a ministry that is supported and was founded by Samaritan's Purse, which the CEO is Franklin Graham, and the son of Billy Graham. And Operation Christmas Child's focus is to provide shoebox gifts to children around the world in approximately 170 countries around the globe. Now, in those shoebox gifts, there may be things like toys and toiletries and school supplies and fun items, but the most important gift that is received when that shoebox is given to a child is the gospel. The gospel is shared with every child that receives the gift. We like to call the shoe boxes gospel opportunities because that is the most important thing that we want to take place when we give these shoe boxes to children around the world. And that's the heartbeat of the ministry. And once those children receive the shoe boxes, the groups that pass them out in these various countries around the world, they then invite the children back for a 12-week discipleship program, very similar to our Sunday school classes here in America. And these children get to come back and be discipled for the next 12 weeks. And hopefully at the end, we have seen children surrender their lives to the Lord Jesus as their Savior. So that's the ultimate goal, is to make an eternal impact in the lives of a child through a shoebox.
And that's all happening. Our mayor of Geraldine, Alabama, Chuck Abels, was on the show with me yesterday, and he couldn't speak high enough about you guys. He goes to First Baptist in Geraldine. And so First Baptist in Geraldine they're really into it. I forgot how many boxes he said they did, or they're doing.
Well, have those numbers. So I wanted to share some of that with you this morning, because now that we've kind of reintroduced what Operation Christmas Child is, we just come out of we call it the Super Bowl season for National Collection Week was the third week of November, and we're proud to say that in Northeast Alabama, we collected a total of 23,751 shoebox gifts.
Wow, is that a record?
Well, it's not a record, but
That's a lot of boxes.
It is a lot of boxes. And First Baptist Church of Geraldine, for the week, they collected, just at their location, 2,248 shoebox gifts. So Miss Maria J. is the drop-off team leader at that church, but Pastor Andy and her husband Brian and Debbie Andrews, their entire church, I'm sure the mayor, they all get involved and have a packing party, and they pack shoebox gifts there as a church, but then they receive them in from the community as well. So First Baptist Church of Geraldine is a huge asset for Operation Christmas Child here in Northeast Alabama.
Right. And you have several, just all throughout this community. I know you got Amy over there, and with her church, they've been a shining light for years too.
Yes, they have. Pine Ridge Baptist is actually what we call our central drop-off location. And of these 23,750 shoebox gifts, 16,688 came through Amy's church at Pine Ridge. And because she takes in all the drop-offs they bring to her, with exception of Etowah County, they're a little different. That's why she took in 16,000 of the 23, but that is a massive amount of shoebox gifts. And she filled 4 pup trailers. If you see down the interstate, the trucks that have 2 trailer cars behind them. That's called a pup trailer. And she filled 4 of those with those 16,000 shoebox gifts there at Pine Ridge just a couple of weeks ago. So yes, they are amazing, and they do a great job representing us here in Northeast Alabama. Their church, as a church, collected 5,450 shoebox. It's a huge amount. Amy's our logistics coordinator, and that's just a fancy word to mean she makes it all happen. All those shoebox gifts, they would not be able to go from Northeast Alabama to the ends of the world without people like Amy Glover and all of our drop-off team leaders, but especially Amy in the role that she serves with her church at Pine Ridge.
Yeah, I've just stepped off to the side and watched her before. And I think it's her anxiousness about it, and it's also her passion. And this is what I noticed out of Amy. Amy's ears have to be burning big time. We're talking about her, but this is a really unique thing I saw about her. She's not too busy to thank someone who brings in 100 boxes and then a couple who may bring 1 or 2. She's so excited for everybody who brings in a box. It doesn't matter how many.
That's what we tell people all the time. I'll have churches that I have the opportunity to go speak with. I had one this particular season. They had never packed shoebox gifts before. And the pastor reached out and said, I think we can only commit to 25 boxes. And he kind of sounded like, well, that's not a lot. I said, every box you pack represents a child getting to learn about our Savior. So that one child, this Bible tells us that Jesus left the 99 to go after the one. Every one shoebox gift makes a huge difference if a child gets to hear about the gospel. So 1 or 10,000, it's all exciting. And that's what we want to see, is every gift is prayed over, and every gift is just as important as the other. So
now, there are things, I know you're getting close to the end of this year with what you'll be doing with Operation Christmas Child, but now you guys work all year round. It's not just a Christmas deal.
It does not slow down. I just got back last week, and I want to put a plug in for our processing centers. We have 8 processing centers around the nation. We are very fortunate here in Northeast Alabama to have one in Atlanta. So very close to us. It was a less than a 3-hour drive. We got to ride over and serve my church, Meadowbrook Baptist Church here in Gadsden. We took a team over. First Baptist Church of Geraldine has taken a team. Pine Ridge has taken a team. You can take a team. You can go just on your own. If you say, hey, I really would like to get involved, or I've always heard about working at a processing center, I encourage you to go onto SamaritansPurse.org and ways to volunteer. You can click on the website and it brings up the volunteer at a processing center. And you can just reserve a spot and go work. We took a team and worked 4-hour shifts, a 4-hour shift, and we left that morning and was back home by that evening. So it's very much a day trip here. Yes. And I had some 70-year-olds on that trip. So I'm telling you, if they can do it, we can all sacrifice a little time. And it was a blessing. As a matter of fact, our bus driver went in with us, and he's a great man. We took a group of ladies over, and the bus driver went in and worked with us. And I asked him, I said, GW, what'd you think? Did we wear you out? He said, no. He said, as a matter of fact, he said, sign me up for next year. We're taking the bigger bus. We're bringing more people, and we're going to tell all the people at church not to overpack their shoe boxes. So you get excited. And so I encourage people to go volunteer at a processing center. It's not too late.
Well, what's a typical day? I know the typical days would change from the different seasons of the year, but what's a typical day in a processing center right around Christmas?
Oh, it's exciting. You walk in and you're in a huge warehouse space. This year it's in Tucker, Georgia, which is a little on the out, it's past Atlanta. And you pull in and you walk in and there is Christmas music playing and you see hundreds, if not thousands, of cartons that are full of thousands of shoebox gifts. So I like to describe it. I don't know if there's Disney fans listening, but I'm a Disney fan. When I walk into the Magic Kingdom, I get chills and I just tear up and get excited because you're in the most magical place on earth, they say. Well, the processing center has kind of started to give me that same kind of experience. When I walk in, it's like it truly is not magical. It's eternally impactful. And when you walk in and you just hear that music and you see those boxes and you are humbled with the fact that this is what it's all about. All the work, all year long, all the training, all the encouragement, all the packing, all the, things that have led up to the year. Here's the final step. And you get to be the last hands, literally the last hands that touch that shoebox before that child is going to touch it. And you pray. They stop once an hour, every hour. And there's a chaplain who leads the whole facility, which are hundreds of people that are there volunteering in prayer, and he shares a devotion. And you just stop what you're doing and you lay your hands on those shoe boxes and you pray for that child, that family, that community that will receive them. So you have different jobs that you can volunteer to do, but that's pretty much a high level overview. It's just an awesome experience to get to be a part. And I'm telling you, that group that I took, and it happens every time I take a group, they wanted to work another 4 hours. You don't want to stop. It's just like we're exhausted, but let's pack some more. We want to get some more packed up before we leave. So, but in Atlanta, they told us they typically see about 70,000 shoebox gifts processed per day. But per day. So what they have been experiencing so far this year is on average around 100,000 shoe boxes. So the volunteers are really hopping over there. They're on a mission to get those things processed. So our regional director, Shelly Wishard, is over that processing center, and she came over and talked to us personally and just shared those stats with us. So far through Thursday of last week, they had processed 760,000 shoebox gifts through last week. So I'm sure they're over 1 million now, just in Atlanta.
Gotta be. Now, throughout the year, because we're talking with people all over the country and all over the world right now. So if someone lives around the Atlanta area, are there volunteer opportunities throughout the year, not just at Christmas time?
Yes, actually, you can volunteer to serve year-round in your local community. And the best way to connect with someone is to go onto, I always push people to our website, SamaritansPurse.org, and under ways to serve, there is a link called volunteer year round. We have various roles, and those roles are the same in all the different communities. You can serve as a drop-off team leader, which we've talked about these churches that have received shoebox gifts. You can volunteer your church to be a drop-off location to receive shoebox gifts. You can be a church relations team member where you go out and you encourage churches to get involved. That process, we start in January, and we have different themes for each quarter. We go out and affirm churches for the ones who packed. Then we go out and we engage churches who have not packed before. And then we support churches as they get ready to enter into what is the last quarter of the year, which is packing season. So church relations team members help do that all year long. We have community team members who do the very same thing, but with community groups. We have firemen that pack shoebox gifts. We have American Girl troops, Boy Scout troops. We have doctors' offices, credit unions, banks who have community service projects. And our community relations team members members help to organize those things and engage those groups. We have prayer team members. Prayer is a vital part of everything we do at Samaritan's Purse and Operation Christmas Child. We need people who are prayer warriors to volunteer, to pray, and that happens all year long. They're praying for these church relations and community team members and all the work that starts all over again in January. And then we have student relations team members who go out and engage, like our FCAs or our FFAs. We had FFA groups, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, that packed shoebox gifts. So our student relations do that. So any of those roles that sound intriguing to you, I would encourage you to go on SamaritansPurse.org, volunteer to serve. You will fill out an online interest form, and those forms, based on where you live, electronically go to the local area coordinators, people like myself. I get emails from people that have gone online and filled those out, and then I personally reach out and follow up with them. So wherever you are located in your communities, you will hear from a local representative to plug you in a way that you can serve in your own community.
And you know something, Jamie, I've been new to a community before. We moved to Charlotte, North Carolina back in 2005. Phil took a job promotion, took us to Charlotte. And I remember not knowing a single person when we got there. This is a great way, if you're new to a community, to fit in. I mean, and you'll meet the cream of the crop in your community. And this is a great way to meet folks.
Hey, it is a great way, and I'll tell you just a quick testimony. We had our prayer coordinator on the call last month, Mr. Tommy Hughes, who happens to be my dad. He always...
Wait, he's a star now. He's a star.
Always a star in my book, but he likes to share how God answers prayers, yes, no, and wait, and he shares examples of that when we go out and talk with groups. Well, I responded to a volunteer interest form last year, a little over a year ago, from a lady who lived in my community who was interested, and she had seen an Instagram post on social media and said, hey, I want to get further involved with Operation Christmas Child. I'm going to fill out this form, see what happens. Well, I got her information. I called her, had a wonderful conversation with her, asked her where she went to church. And as God works, she said, tell me where she went to church. I had been visiting at her church for the last month. We had never met one another. Through our interaction on this volunteer interest form, we got to meet personally because of Operation Christmas Child. Her name is Miss Robbie Lancaster. She wound up telling me, after we talked about the various roles, she said, none of those really sound like something I feel led to do, but I want to get my church further involved. Will you come and speak to our women's group? Will you come share about Operation Christmas Child? I'm going to get a little emotional. In her no to serve as a year-round volunteer, it helped introduce me to our women's missions group in our church. It opened the door of service for me to get to know the people in this church that I was volunteering with, and through our visiting. And through that interaction, I got plugged into this local church. They learned more about Operation Christmas Child, and a church that was packing 25 boxes the year before, last year packed 230 boxes, and this year packed 282. So
you never know what one decision is going to do.
That's right. And how it connected us, even though she said no to serve around, it engaged me into the church, helped me meet people, help them learn about Operation Christmas Child, and I got to go on my first international mission trip with Robbie to Costa Rica. So God just does amazing things through the power of this ministry. Even when people say no, he has other plans. And he's
a big yes elsewhere.
Yeah.
Jamie, we're going to have to go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. I'll take you off video. It'll be about 3 minutes, but we're going to be right back. So everybody just kind of hang in there, okay? We'll be right back. At Miracle Pottery, each pottery item is hand-turned from durable stoneware, clay body, and non-scratch high-fire glaze. Dishwasher oven and microwave safe, our handcrafted dinnerware and bakeware will last a lifetime, staying just as beautiful as the day it was born. Each pot is signed first with a cross in thanks to our Lord, our name, and then the year. We say a tiny prayer for the receiver of each piece that they receive abundant blessings in their lives. It's not just about pottery. We're located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains near Mentone and Valley Head, Alabama. Miracle Pottery is nestled at the base of the hills at 7871 Alabama Highway 117 between Gadsden, Alabama and Chattanooga, Tennessee. Please go to our website, miraclepottery.com, for more info about our other getaway cottages. You can also call us at 256-635-6863. Patterson's Music and Jewelry is a full-line music store offering guitar repair, setup and sound installation equipment, as well as instrument rentals and new and used guitars and amps. We offer jewelry at affordable prices and jewelry repair, watch batteries and link removal, and we offer personalized jewelry such as fingerprint, mother's rings, and pendants. Shop in historic downtown Fort Payne on Galt Avenue. Hours are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and 9 to 2 on Saturday. Call 256-845-4115. That's 256-845-4115. And thank you for trusting Patterson's Music and Jewelry. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales look forward to serving you. And you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Fort Payne and Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by the locations in Fort Payne and Gadsden. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. In the town of Geraldine, Alabama, we're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. It's so good to be with you today. I have Jamie McGlaughn with me, and she's with Operation Christmas Child Samaritan's Purse, and such a pleasure to have on the show. Thank you a lot for your hard work. I know you have lots of testimonials from the kids who've received the gifts. Let's talk about a few of those.
Okay. Well, when we were talking about working at the processing center just a little bit ago before the break, and one of the testimonies that was shared when we were at the processing center was about a distribution that took place. I can't remember the country. You'll have to forgive me, but the children were receiving the shoebox gifts, and there was a little girl that was there, and she was in a wheelchair. And they handed her box, and they always count down 3, 2, 1, and the children open their gifts, and there's excitement, and everybody's seeing what's in their boxes. Well, they counted down, opened the boxes, and the person that was helping the little girl, the heart just sunk because in her box was a jump rope. And, the person that was there with representing the church handing out shoeboxes just thought, oh no, she's gotten a box that, this is going to upset her because she can't use this jump rope. Well, so the little girl was just as excited as anybody that was there in the room that day. And she looked up at the lady that was there helping, and she said, now I have a toy that the children in my neighborhood will want to come to my house and play with me. So yes, I mean, when we pack these shoebox gifts and you think, okay, this is horrible. She got a jump rope. She'll never be able to use it. God has a plan. And that young lady was so excited because now children will come and play with her. And, we have got to hear testimonies from shoebox recipients that have come and done speaker tours. And that's the thing that they share about. Well, Edward Nadecki was a guest that spoke in our area, and he talked about a green yo-yo that he received. And that green yo-yo, he said, it traveled all over my community. He said, because I was able to use that toy. Everybody wanted to play with my yo-yo. He was the only one that had a yo-yo. And he said, I'd let all my friends borrow it. And then they would bring it back so the next person could borrow it. And it just taught them the lesson of sharing and joy. And that opened the door for Edward, who was a pastor's son, to tell them about the love and joy that is only found in Jesus and how he shares because Jesus shared his love with us. It just gave him an avenue as a believer to share with the other children. So testimonials like that, we just have no way of understanding how God is going to use these what seems like such small gifts to do amazing things.
Oh, I also think it opens up the doors to our kids. I mean, we spoil our kids and grandkids. They've got everything. Christmas is not Christmas anymore because they receive presents all through the year. And I think it's good for them to get insight on what it's like for kids in other countries, just to see how blessed we are.
Absolutely. And just to get to hear stories about how brothers and sisters were excited to get a toothbrush because they don't have to share their toothbrush anymore. Like our children don't even have the capacity to think that they'd have to share a toothbrush with 4 other siblings. Just the simple things that we take for granted each and every day. So yes, very much encourage you to get your children involved, get them explain to them what these shoebox gifts represent. We are so busy with so many things, but we need to slow down and take a few moments to make sure that we're teaching our kids the most important things here at home as well as around the world. We need to make sure they understand how important sharing the gospel is through small, what may seem insignificant items that we can take the time to pack here at home to send around the world.
I thought about that too. Because of that impact on our kids here, they need that. Because if we don't let these kids know about situations like in other countries, we could wind up with folks in other countries sending shoe boxes to us. I mean, in a couple of generations.
We have missionaries from other countries coming to America to plant churches because we have become more we've made church and a relationship with the Lord less of a priority than my parents did for me and their parents did for them. So I just think it's so important that as parents, we slow down and we remember that our children are not going to stand before God and answer for their grades or their athletic ability. They're going to stand before God and he'll either say, "Depart from me, I knew you not," or "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And that's what we need to be teaching our children. They've got to make a choice of what their eternity is going to look like. And it's
got to be all about example. It really does. Less than a minute left, girl. Time flies when you're on the show.
You make it fun.
They got about 30 seconds left. What's the websites?
Well, we want to promote SamaritansPurse.org. That's all things Operation Christmas Child. There's a link. You'll go right to Operation Christmas Child and see all the ways you can get involved. And then locally, we'd love for you to follow our Facebook page. It's Northeast Alabama Operation Christmas Child, and you can find out all the local information. We'll post details in our newsletter, and you want to follow along to see what's happening here locally on that Facebook page.
Absolutely. Well, Jamie, thank you again so much for being on the show, and thank you for watching. Bye, Jamie.
Bye, Donna. Thank you.